Good day, weather technology students. In this video, we're going to talk about what you can expect in that Jupyter Lab environment to then navigate around, open notebooks, and do some common tasks in there. So what you're going to want to do is go ahead and log on to Blackboard and to find the web address, or if you've bookmarked it here, going to this js-156-230.jetstream-cloud.org, or if you're watching this video and the address has changed, just going to the appropriate address to log into the Jupyter Hub instance. And so once you go ahead and sign in with GitHub, you may have to put in your GitHub credentials to do so. You are brought into something called the Jupyter Lab environment. This environment is where we're going to spend a lot of our time working on computing related stuff throughout this semester. And there are a couple of different elements to this setup. On the left-hand side here is the kind of folder finder window of which you can double-click around. So you can, for example, go into Valpo_courses, and then you see a weather tech folder. So again, double-clicking to move through here to find the appropriate things that you're looking for. And so one of the things you can do is you can go ahead and go into the notebooks. Let's say find the surface_observations notebook, and to open this notebook, double-click on that file. And when you do so, then that's going to open up what's called a Jupyter Notebook in the kind of bigger right-hand panel here that then is going to contain words and code and things that then we're going to analyze various weather situations with and make various maps throughout the course of this semester. And so this is really nice and really easy way to learn some coding things. If for some reason you needed to download this file, say you wanted to have it locally, or say you create a graphic through one of these Jupyter notebooks, you might see the graphic appear. In order to download, you're going to right-click on whatever it is you want to download, and then navigate to the download option. And depending on how your system is set up with your web browser, it'll either ask you where to download something, or by default, if you've not changed the default setting, it'll download to your downloads folder, your download folder, whatever it may be called on your particular system. And so this might be good for when you're needing to upload things for a class assignment to Blackboard or Top Hat, that you are going to initially need to download something locally to then upload it via that other system. If you need to bring something up into the Jupyter Hub environment, up on the top of this navigation pane here, there is a little up arrow. And if you hover over it long enough, you'll see that it says Upload Files. And so if you needed to upload something from your local machine, say you created or saved something as a .py file, a Python file, and then you needed to get it uploaded again, you would use this option to upload it back to the Jupyter Hub environment. So you can both download and upload. Now we're going to talk more as we go through the semester about these various things. Here we have one of our earlier aspects that we're going to be working with here in surface plotting. But we need to then know how to run cells with this in this environment. And so there are a couple of different ways you can do it. The way that I typically do it is I hold down the Shift key and hit Enter when I am on the cell. And so we know that this is the active cell from the blue box and the blue bar here. And so if I hold Shift Enter, I run that cell. Now we see that it says that there's an error, right? And so whenever we see these errors, we need to read these errors. And it says, no module metpy found. Well, that seems problematic since that's what I want to do. And this is one of the common errors you're going to find when starting to work with some of these notebooks. Up here in the right-hand corner is the listing of the kernel. And there are a couple of different kernels that we have available to us. And so we click on that, left click on that. And right now it's set on the root kernel, which does not have metpy. And what we need to do is we need to switch that kernel to be the Valpo Spring 2021 kernel. So we use the drop-down menu to select it. We select it. Once it's here and the little circle becomes blank again, that means it's active. So then we can go ahead and rerun this cell. Again, Shift Enter. And then we've successfully run this initial cell. Now you may see some of these notes here about downloading files. The first time you run some of these things, we're going to build the cache on the system. And so we've downloaded a couple of files here. This won't happen in subsequent runnings because it'll already be downloaded. Another way, though, to run a cell is, again, if it's highlighted here, there's a little play button up here. You can run the cell that way. Or you can go up to Run, and then Run Selected Cells is another option to do it. So there are a couple of different ways to run the cells. I typically like just using the keyboard and Shift-Enter to run those various cells. If for some reason you need to start over, maybe there's some sort of big error or something, you just want to clean everything out and restart from scratch as if you've never run anything before, up here you can click this kernel tab, and then you can click Restart Kernel and Clear All Outputs. That will reset everything back to a base state as if nothing had ever been run before. And then if you want to save any of the changes you might have made here, this little disk icon is for saving. Save your updates. That way, you can add in new cells with the plus sign, you can cut out cells, you can copy the selected cells, you can run something, you can stop something, you can change the mode of the cells. So where this text is, this is something called a markdown cell, but in these cells here, it's a code cell. So there's some of the basics of this environment. We'll unlock more of those as we go throughout the semester. So then we can go ahead and close this notebook out. We could, of course, just click on the X here. That would close it out. Or we can go to File, Close and Shut Down Notebook. This is probably the better way to do it. But I'll show you. So you can either close and shut down, which frees the resources that this notebook is taking up. But if you do happen to just click on the X here, the notebook is still kind of running in the background. And so if we go over here to this left-hand side, we see this circle with kind of a stop button in the middle. If we click on that, this is where we're going to see our various sessions that are still running, whether that be kernel sessions or terminal sessions. And the thing we want to do at the end of every day we're working is make sure that whatever is running is shut down. And so you can just click this shutdown button to then kill that kernel session, which will then free up resources so we're being mindful of what we're using. Another thing we're going to do, especially early on in the semester, is we're going to utilize the terminal window so that we can do some Linux commands. And so, again, you have this launcher window that can be used to then start processes. So we're going to start a terminal window here. We see we have a running terminal there, which is great. We don't want to kill it yet or anything. So if we didn't want to see anything on this side, we could actually click on this again, and it'll minimize that. Same thing with the folder icon. We can have the folder open or closed. And here we can do some simple Linux commands, which we're going to talk about in a future video. So just know that we can have this, and then we can go ahead and either X out here, or we could type the word exit to close that cell. If we type exit, then we're going to automatically shut down that terminal session. If for some reason we needed, if this launcher window didn't appear, we could hit this plus sign here. That would open up this new launcher window, so we could open up a new, say, notebook that is for our Valpo Spring 2020 environment, or a console, or a terminal window as needed. Again, you can navigate around here in this side section here. We're going to talk about how to navigate around in the terminal section in a different video. But these PY files are basically just normal flat files that you can double click to open, and it'll open up in a separate window here, and we could edit it, save it, and then run it in a terminal window if we needed to. Again, we'll talk more about some of these things as we go on throughout the semester. And again, just to close that window, you X out of it. Shouldn't have anything running then, which is great. And so that's it. That's some basics about kind of navigating around in this Jupyter Notebook environment. I hope you found this helpful. If you need more explanation, there's a cheat sheet available on Blackboard. And of course, there are many videos out there if you Google Jupyter Notebook instruction videos to find out more about some of the details behind these Jupyter Notebooks and how you can do things within this environment. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.